Blended Podcasts. Brought to you by Blended Audio.
Hello and welcome back to Talos Talks Shit. It is a new year and we are here with some very interesting new podcasts and new technology. We thought we would start this year out with a continuation of the last series we did on immersive audio. The reason for choosing more immersive audio is because we have had a very exciting last couple of weeks in that the immersive audio we were talking about in the last podcast has become a lot more real and tangible. And there have been huge steps into taking that into the real world, and we're really excited about those. So, before we begin, let me introduce once again Sean Davenport, the CTO of Immersive DSP, and my good friend. What's up, buddy?
What's up, buddy? How are you doing, Massimo?
I'm very good, dude.
Happy
Are you
New
well?
Year?
Are
Yes,
you well?
I'm well,
Okay,
man.
good. I'm also well,
Happy
dude.
New Year.
Thank you, yeah, and happy New
2020.
Year to all our listeners. Yeah, new decade.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna steal this from old Joe Rogan, but it doesn't really feel real to say 2020. You know what I mean? It feels like a fake number. You know, we're in the year 2020. It just feels too weird. But that
Very
being
strange.
said, there is some tech to match the state of the future we are in.
There's some very interesting things happening, yes.
Yeah, especially in South Africa, which is a welcome change from the usual pace here.
Yeah, that is true.
So, this episode, we're going to have a little bit of a chat about Playtopia.
Yeah.
Playtopia was a indie gaming conference that was hosted in Cape Town from the 5th to the 7th of December, I believe.
Yeah, you got it.
And they had a ton of exhibitions.
So much to see. It was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm just so blown away by the states of indie gaming and gaming in general in South Africa. There's just some amazing things out. Like, have you seen Boot Fighter? I know you've actually seen it because you told me like about, I don't know, like a year or two ago. You gave me a trailer, and then now it's like
It's there.
It's there, and you can get it on like, you know, the App Store, the Android Store, computer.
Yeah, and it
You
was
can play it, dude.
the top performing app on the Apple App Store.
Yeah,
when
I think it was.
released,
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
which
man.
is really cool, man. So yeah, everyone knows Boot Fighter,
Yeah.
but there were a hell of a lot of other games that were super well polished and interesting. You know, there was what is the penis jousting game? dude?
Genital jousting.
Genital jousting. By which studio?
Free Lives, I think it is.
Okay, thank you. So Genital Jousting by Free Lives, I got to give serious credit to those guys because that's a fun game, man.
Yeah, it's quite far out, man.
Yeah,
The name alludes to it.
yeah. It's a game I can see being played at tons of house parties and in dorm rooms for a very long time.
Yes, definitely.
You know,
and that was the cool thing about this conference, actually, is like as you walk in, you sort of, it felt like that. Like, I don't know, I know gaming, and from my younger brother, he's like professional Counter-Strike gamer.
Yeah.
And the sense of his gatherings in comparison, like the competitive gatherings, you know,
Right,
like
yeah.
Rage and stuff like that, in comparison to this was like completely different. Like this literally felt like it could have been a house party.
Well, it was a party. You
Yeah.
know, it was actually a flippin' cool party. I have to give credit to Playtopia for really making it a
putting it
vibe.
together. And
Yeah.
like through all the power failures, I don't know if anyone remembers the 5th to the 7th, but
Oh,
there
Lord.
were loads. I think it's like load shedding started like that week.
Yes, exactly.
And they held it together. It's a complete tech conference and everything worked. There was always power when there needed to be. Amazing work.
Amazing
Good job,
work, guys. Yeah, amazing work,
really
guys.
Happy to have been there.
I'm sorry we don't know the names of the individual people involved in making that happen, but
no, it is-
you really all did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we actually well, Sean was there. I shouldn't say we.
We all there.
Sean was there, and you tell us, what were you doing at Playtopia?
Yeah, so I approached Ben Rausch, who's one of the organizers for Playtopia. There's quite a team. It's Ben Rausch and then Dom Galinski, I think. I'm bad at remembering the surname, but and then a couple other people. And I sort of saw the conference there, and I saw immersive arts, and I thought like, yo, this is something that we need to get to. And we're just starting a new iteration on some of our stuff where we're working with virtual reality and loudspeaker-based environments. So we thought, hey, this is a perfect time to go see what's happening out there, and it seemed like a good gathering for everyone.
Okay, so let's go.
And so what did I do there, I guess?
Yeah.
Sorry, I rambled a bit.
So virtual reality and loudspeaker alignments, is that what you...
Yeah, and environments.
Virtual reality and loudspeaker environments. Okay, so let's pick that apart.
Yeah, so at Playtopia, for instance, we sort of we took a demo of our system, but we made it highly interactive. So using tools like MaxMSP, we were able to take information from a Kinect, and we were able to control different lighting parameters and trigger different audio samples as people walked in and around the space. And then to make it even more interactive, we put Massimo's turntable in the middle. Thank you, Massimo. And we actually broke a needle through that. But
good conference, dudes.
Yeah. But yeah, we set that up, and we had people coming in and playing with the vinyl, and they could play sounds, and it would be rendered in ambisonics. If you guys remember what I was talking about, it would be rendered in ambisonics and other algorithms around the system.
So just a quick
to create
refresher.
These sorts of like loudspeaker environments.
All right.
That's a loudspeaker environment.
So just a quick refresher. What that means is you had how many speakers? 12 speakers set up?
Yes, yeah, there were 12.
12 speakers set up.
And point one, the sub bass.
With the sub, yeah. And what was happening is there was some immersive sound design. So you had some recordings that you actually recorded in ambisonics, correct?
Yes, yeah.
All right, so that was ambisonics at the source, which is...
It's like sounds of rainstorms and thunder and stuff that I did in Mpumalanga, actually.
Oh,
when
cool.
I went there. So
cool.
Yeah.
So that means that when the sound source was recorded, it was actually recorded from multiple directions.
Yes.
Meaning that when you have 12 speakers to play it back on, you aren't having to force the directionality of the sound, meaning you aren't having to force, oh, that thing was heard in the bottom left, that thing was heard in the top right. It's a more natural progression to the speakers, to playing out and to immersing people.
Yeah, because there's no processing or digital signal processing. You don't have to actually manipulate the audio, the waveform too much. It's just literally summing of some of the signals to certain speakers with particular weights and a phase inversion or two.
Okay, and then that results in a sort of super cool immersive environment.
It's like enveloping. So as you walk in and you play it on the loudspeakers, you actually start to really feel sort of the depth and the distance and the scale of it. I think also the rumbling of the sub basses and things like that.
Yeah.
That provides like a lot of sort of accuracy or envelopment. I think that's the better word.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you do get kind of blurry reproduction with ambisonic recordings to loudspeakers, and that's just because of the capability of the microphone. Like you get higher resolution ones, but they're very expensive.
Right, that just means the microphone doesn't have enough individual... Because this is sort of a collection of microphones.
Sampling
so it doesn't have enough individual microphones to capture things in very high detail. But this is all very new tech, so that's not necessarily a problem.
Stuff coming out. And it still worked well, especially with the other algorithms to play back stuff. Like we had some of the turntable sounds being moved in circles around the space, and then we had like a ping pong delay. If anyone knows what a stereo ping pong is, just imagine it in 3D.
Yeah, that's basically, imagine a ping pong ball bouncing back and forth between two speakers. So it just keeps going and going and going. Yeah, pretty much.
But it's all around you.
Yeah, and I must say that effect worked really well.
It was especially with the scratching, remember?
Yeah. People seemed really excited about that. And you say we broke a needle, and what that means is there were a lot of people coming in and out and interacting with the piece.
Yeah. It seemed like that. It was really cool. And there were some nice vinyls to look through as well. So we sort of, I don't know, in my mind, when we sort of started setting up the installation, it was like, how can we merge old technology with new technology and provide a way for the user to really interact with it and try understand it a bit more, and sort of take note of like, oh, we're using something that was traditionally used 50 years ago with no spatial audio or anything, and like, how is that integrating into this new sort of technology? And the vinyl showed for it as well. We had like all these space travel vinyls, like lunar landing, and then some sort of more old traditional music that we sort of were kind of linking with the Dogen sort of philosophy and the understanding of like the Dogen dance, like astral dances. So that's other ways of doing astronomy and things like that. That was the ideas I was trying to incorporate into the piece.
Very creative, dude. Very creative. And it was quite cool because you were...
space travel.
And space travel, man. Yeah, you had 2001 A Space Odyssey there, and that was a huge hit with everyone. I noticed that.
It's a lot of fun. Imagine a rig like this in space with VR. Space travel to Mars, dude.
Why would you need...
Because if you can't, experience being on Earth, it's one of the most alienating things to be inside a spaceship. So I wonder if something like this would be useful for space travel.
We need to contact Elon Musk, dude.
Yeah.
SpaceX needs some changes on those rockets, dude. That's a really good point, actually. Maybe that is the key to unlocking, or one of the many keys to unlocking space travel to Mars.
Yeah, to make it comfortable for the passengers.
Exactly, yeah. There's been, immersive environments really seem to trick people's brains, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, let's see about that. That's an idea that's out there now. If anyone beats us to it, well done. But otherwise, you may see some immersive DSP speakers
across NASA.
Yeah, well, nice big immersive DSP sticker on the side of a SpaceX rocket as it's taking off.
Yeah, please get me Elon Musk's contact details.
Sure, dude. Just give me a day or two. So what was also cool is that we were actually set up between two super interesting exhibitions, which kind of fit the mold of what you were doing. So
it was incredible seeing some of the innovation coming out. So with virtual reality, a big thing's been 6 degrees of freedom, if anyone understands, and that's the ability to actually walk through the virtual reality space,
right,
as it would be. And there are some really cool cameras that actually record point clouds, they call them, but it's like the way that it's almost like a picture, but a 3D picture.
All right.
And you can get the understanding of depth and what things are. And they call that, it's a LiDAR camera.
Oh, right, yeah.
And they use it in some self-driving cars, although apparently it's not like the true way to do it, some people say. But I'm not going to get into that.
That's a whole podcast series in itself, dude.
But they use this camera to capture Newlands Forest.
Right, yeah.
So if any of you guys have been there, there's all those blue gum trees coming up and down. But this guy actually captured these things, and in the VR environment, you could like zoom through the different point clouds. So it's like these little particles that sort of create terrain or like an understanding of a mapping. So he did it on trees and stuff. One of the scenes was like you were inside the tree.
Yeah, that was crazy. I was in the perfect spot for that tree because you move. That was one cool thing about this particular VR presentation, is that you were able to move around within the environment, and it made it more immersive as opposed to breaking the immersion. And I was in the perfect spot. That tree grew like square from my feet out of my chest.
Dude.
Which was pretty fun. I was very impressed by that, I have to say.
Yeah, it was incredible. And they set up a really cool thing. So the idea, and I'm trying to remember the name, it's Jason. Let me think about it. Sorry, I think we can pick this up again. Jason, okay. It was Jason Stapleton, and his piece was called The Forest Inhales You.
Okay.
And the cool idea about this is that when I was chatting to him, he had a lot of interesting things to talk about in terms of VR art and how VR has a sense of like you're going from like one completely different reality to another reality when you put it on. So a way to sort of allow for some of the art pieces in VR to really have like a true effect and a resounding effect was to try create the actual space where you witness the VR or see the VR to also allude to that. So it's sort of like this, I don't know, like a merging, like a little stitch in between the old, like your normal reality and what you're going into the VR. Because that was quite a far out piece. Like there was nothing natural looking about that.
But it felt very natural to be in. It was very interesting.
Yeah, and like as you walked in, there were like those logs on the floor, and then they took some gout, like fishing string. What's that stuff called? But the fishing string, and then they put white stones up. And if you remember the point cloud, there were all these like little white dots and things.
Yeah.
And then they had pictures, like projections of the piece and stuff like that. So it was creating this sort of like, I don't know, this merging of like
real reality and immersive reality.
Yeah, or like virtual reality, I suppose.
Yeah. So that was really high quality. I got to give props to Jason.
Yeah, amazing stuff. And using that camera was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, very cool idea. And then there was also a game from Eden Labs called The
Yes.
Lost Botanist.
Yes.
I didn't get to see it, but people are really excited about that. What's the sort of concept behind that game?
So The Lost Botanist is like a short VR experience. It's like an interactive movie kind of, but like a virtual reality one. So, and the animation's absolutely incredible. It's Rick Tweewick. Sorry, I can't remember the full name. But yeah, and his sister is. Sorry, guys, I can't remember the same.
Okay, well.
But yeah, so anyways, they put that together, and it's absolutely incredible. Like you start out and you're sort of this lost botanist, and there's this book experience, and you're reading this book, and you start moving through the space looking for different plants to. I'm trying to remember the exact storyline, but it's to discover something.
Okay, well, we don't want to spoil it for people.
Yeah.
So you move through a botany environment.
Yeah, you move through the botany environment on this like floating like carpet almost, and you sort of start to choose different sort of things from the environment and find them. And there's this guy, it's quite like, I don't know, the narrative's very, very well done, and the voice recording's epic, and the sound's epic as well.
Ah, cool.
But yeah, it's just an amazing way of animating in 3D, like this sort of virtual space. And I'd love to hear them talking more about it. It would be cool to get them on this podcast even too.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to do that, actually.
But they also sort of did that like stitching of real reality to the Lost Botanist. Like as you walk into the basement, there's all these plants like set up around, indoor plants, and there's like old books and stuff like that, like engineering books and things. And botany drawings and stuff, and then you put on this thing and you sort of just get taken away into this other reality. It's really good.
Well, it's right on the money for the crossover between VR and AR. That's
Yeah, you can make whole AR experiences surrounding that, like little landmarks and stuff.
Make real reality more immersive than it actually is.
Yeah.
By creating augmented reality experiences, which it's very exciting stuff, and I think.
And that was just a few of them. There was so like I could go on for hours.
Well, there were
and
more
I wish
than
I
40
had a better memory.
exhibitions there,
Yeah.
and what was cool, but also made it difficult to see everything, is that there was a lot of talking. Everybody was talking to each other about everybody's tech and really sharing things and figuring out how to integrate different stuff, and it was really a cool environment for creativity being passed around.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, man. Definitely.
I felt very stimulated after those 2 days, I have to say. What did you sort of... Because you spoke to a couple of people there, and there was a couple of interesting things that you could be involved in. So what are some of the things that you may potentially...
Well, I mean, as I've been going on about, my main sort of priority at the moment is to try enable loudspeaker-based environments essentially to come out and make it easy for people to create these sorts of like sound-based environments that hold depth and color and stuff like that, not just like stereo or just playing it back in certain places. So I spoke a lot about immersive audio, as you'd imagine.
Shocking.
Yeah. I spoke quite a bit with Jason as well, and he's also been wanting to play around with sort of ideas of geometry through acoustics and stuff like that. And that's something really interesting that I've been looking at recently myself with some cool software that allows for acoustic modeling. And how do you understand the geometry of spaces and the absorption of different walls and stuff, and how do you place that in space around you to create like a meaningful and realistic effect?
Right, yeah.
So bringing that into virtual reality art, I think, is something that can, really enhance what's happening. And the same thing with that, like bridging of old reality, well, not old reality, I'm going to say that, but other reality to a different reality in like a short space of time is through sound, I believe. If you can walk into a space and you're starting to get a picture already of what it sounds like, it's like the ears move the hearts and move the eyes,
That's very interesting, is that basically what you said is exactly right, is that I think a lot of people are focusing on the visual side of augmented reality and virtual reality, but where it's going to come down to rubber hitting the road is I think there's going to be a lot of audio stuff involved, because I see a huge potential for it for brands and adverts, and there was already that experience we spoke about briefly, I think, in the last podcast at I think it was Heathrow Airport. I could be totally wrong about that, but essentially it was a cruise down the Yangtze River as you go on the conveyor belts through the very long terminal. And there was immersive audio there, so you could sort of be immersed in the experience of the birds flying and this, that, and the other. And it's only a matter of time before that gets picked up for sort of brand identity and brand awareness.
No,
and stuff.
the whole thing of like 360 is quite crazy. But I'm also like, I still believe in the older ways of making audio sound good and stuff like that. It's like a weird bridging process. Just because it's immersive sometimes, I guess, doesn't like make it 100% what it needs to be able to portray the piece and stuff like that. And how do you get those pieces into a virtual reality or virtual space is also quite an interesting idea.
Yeah, just because it's immersive and just because it's 360 doesn't mean it's better.
Content, yeah, exactly.
It doesn't mean that it's gonna make more of an impact, an artistic impact on the person.
Yeah, but it can help a lot if you do it right, I think. Or it could, I don't know. It's all up to what you want to do, I guess.
Yeah. But basically, there was a hell of a lot of interest in the immersive technology, and it really seemed like there were a lot of really cool classic games there.
Yeah, dude, some amazing ones, I must say.
Yeah.
It like brings you down those classic arcade games. Remember that gorilla game when you like running through a maze and like beating up people, smashing them against walls, and like the animation was just super cool.
That was really fun.
Amazing.
Yeah, a lot of very creative pieces there, which is cool. And I think South Africa is in a very interesting period in that sort of a change in a vanguard shift,
Yeah, and it's a lot of sharing as well. Like chatting with someone yesterday, even on this other cool festival that's sort of in the works around September time. And I don't know, he believes, and I think rightly so, is that like a lot of South Africans haven't been sharing a lot of the technological. Or I don't know if it's sharing or if it's like you're not getting into the same groups or doing similar stuff or not having, I don't know what it is really. Like open source community is kind of different here, I suppose.
Well, I feel like, a lot of South African industries, and I'm probably going to get disputed on this a lot, but I feel like a lot of South African industries are very cutthroat.
Yeah.
Everyone's out to be the best.
I can agree with that, definitely with some. But I think this new tech art
is what I'm
space
saying,
is like,
yeah.
and it's this whole idea of, I don't know, even I guess in university is trying to teach it now. It's like science, technology, engineering, art. Oh no, sorry, economics,
maths,
yeah,
STEM,
economics,
science, tech,
STEAM.
STEM, science, tech, economics, maths.
But then there's STEAM that has the A in it, which is art.
Okay.
So it's like so STEAM, and that's supposed to, I think. I don't know, seeing the art community now and just seeing how science and art is like combining is actually like a LiDAR camera for art is just such a cool way to, first of all, have the person learn how to use it for something cool, interesting, and then be able to use it in a variety of different use cases and stuff like that. And I don't know, to stimulate the creative mind, I think helps to, helps innovation essentially. Whatever that might be.
Yeah, and that's basically what I was trying to say, is that I think in a couple of years' time, the trend is going to be more towards open source and sharing and community-based work.
Yeah.
And I think that's really going to propel what's going on here into the next level. You know?
Yeah. And there's just like lots more talking happening, it seems, at the moment. Lots of WhatsApp groups, lots of meetups.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, you went to a VR meetup. Maybe let's just give that a bit of promo.
Yeah, no, we are VR in Joburg, man. Dale Deacons, I think, put it together with some other people, and it's absolutely incredible. When I say it's incredible, it's different. It's obviously not like a festival or anything, but it's the amount of like sharing being, the sharing of technology, sharing of ideas is like absolutely incredible. Learning about all these different experiences and getting people from like National Geographic and how that's helped them in certain different aspects. But yeah, I don't know, they always bring on someone new in South Africa that's doing something really interesting with VR or new technology in general, and you get to chat about it.
It's really stimulating, man, and it's really nice to walk away from these things with a sort of positive feeling inside of you, a feeling that you want to be part of a movement and a change, and you want to be part of something new that's happening.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
cool and exciting, and people are getting involved in. So I really just one more time got to say, well done, Playtopia.
Big up,
really
guys.
had
And Make Games Africa.
And Make Games Africa,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, we really had a wonderful time there. I think you guys should all come next year. Whether you're interested in video games or not, you're going to have a great time.
Yeah, definitely.
And we also did some very interesting other things over the month of December 2019.
That was a busy month, man.
It was a busy month. So in the next 2 episodes, we're going to pick apart the immersive gig or immersive live music event we did with 2 awesome bands in Cape Town.
Yeah.
Garden Dangerfields. If you know what good music is, you know those 2 guys.
Yeah.
Or those 2 bands rather. And we had quite a roller coaster of an experience getting this gig together. It was full of highs and lows and highs and lows, and then finally a good high at the end. So I'm gonna try to keep it a nice open discussion of what what happens with startup technology sometimes.
Yeah.
How rocky the road to getting your product out and into the world can actually be.
Definitely.
So I think if you're interested in anything to do with starting your own company and
Tech company specifically,
but also I think a lot of the lessons we learned applies to a lot of things.
Yeah, that is true.
So and then also you'll hear about
Perseverance.
Perseverance.
That's the key, guys.
Stamina.
That's the key, guys.
Stamina. Work on your cardio, guys. So thank you for tuning into this little episode on a deconstruction of Playtopia. It was
a constructing event.
It was a constructing event.
Or constructive event, I suppose.
Yeah, it was a constructive event, constructing new things. And
big shouts to everyone there. Everyone did something so amazing. We could literally do a whole podcast series on
what's
each of
going on
those
there. Yeah,
things,
and I think there will be
absolutely incredible stuff.
I think there will be follow-up media. I saw them recording stuff. So check out their Facebook page, the Instagram page.
Yeah.
Keep following it and keep checking it out for next year.
Yeah, please do.
Cool. We will check you guys. Well, we will chat to you guys very soon. We hope you enjoyed this first episode of 2020. And we have a hell of a lot more exciting stuff coming this year. We've got some interviews we think you guys are going to get really excited about fairly big players in the South African tech and AR scene and VR scene. And we're just going to keep talking shit.
Yeah.
So thanks again for tuning in.
Let's get Pubby back, dude.
Pubby has been on an extended break, but he has assured me he's coming back with the thunder soon.
Oh, I'm so keen, man.
So
I'm ready.
We're gonna have another little deep dive into some interesting technical and nerdy stuff soon.
Yeah, we should do a three-way podcast. Yeah,
we're gonna do a three-way, Sean.
Three-way podcast,
me and you
please,
probably
dude.
should do a three-way. I'm really excited for that. Thanks again, listeners, and we will see you soon.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Massimo.
No, thank you, Sean.
And Happy New Year.
Yeah, to all of our listeners, and please tune in again. Cheers.